Hi, I'm Becca Lane, the founder of the Little Round Schoolhouse and creator of Storytime in the Schoolhouse. And this is the second video in a series of videos about the Lantern Walk. In the first video, I gave you an idea of what it was like to come to the celebration, all the way from arrival to leaving to go home. And now I want to spend today talking to you about how to bring this yearly tradition home to your family. For this most beloved tradition we had at Little Round Schoolhouse is one that parents often asked me how they could bring home to celebrate with their individual family unit or with several close families. I encourage you to watch that video if you hadn't seen it already. So today, let's look at what it takes to put together a lantern walk and what you need to know. And it is really quite simple. So at minimum, you need only two things: a path to walk and lanterns to carry. So let's start with those. And when people first hear about the Lantern Walk and I describe how I celebrate it, often they'll immediately think this is something their family can't do because they live in an urban area or a high-rise apartment. They don't have space that is theirs to walk on. But don't worry, families that I know from all around the world have adapted this to meet their needs. Even if you can't line your path with luminaries in the city, you can pick out a path to walk and walk the same one year after year. If you live in a downtown or urban area, I know families who have gotten away with lighting their path with luminaries. And if it's possible, you can do what I did for my school families, which is I rented space at a city park. I rented a pavilion. And then the park itself, everyone left once it was dark, and I asked permission for my group to stay a little later. Most public parks close at dark, so I let them know what we were doing and how long we would be there. This could even work for your family and is a nice way to have access to a little more land if you'd like to walk somewhere outside and away from the lights of the city. If you have a yard really of any size, you can set up a path there, even if your yard is small and you just have a simple path around the outside edge. Where I live, we have some more space, so we mow a path around the yard and light that with luminaries. So you've heard me talk about luminaries. Let me show you what those are. I get a paper bag, a white paper bag, because it gives a nice glow. But I'm sure you could use a brown paper bag, although I haven't tried that. I put a little bit of sand in the bottom of the paper bag, so if the wind blows, the bag stays where it's supposed to stay. And then I place a candle in the bottom of the bag. For the first 7 years that we had lantern walks, I used a simple tea light in the bottom of the bag. And I made sure that wherever we were walking, there weren't dry leaves or dry grass around the bag in case the bag would catch on fire. And I always had a fire extinguisher on hand and someone whose job it was to know where the fire extinguisher was and to know that they were going to be the ones to use it. And then one year we had forest fires in my town, and the whole town was filled with smoke. And I'm not from an area where there are usually forest fires, so this was new to me and new to many people. And that year and all the years since, I have used LED lights inside the luminaries. This ensures that nothing catches on fire. These luminaries I buy the ones that when they glow, they kind of flicker, so they look more like a real candle when they're inside the bag. I still use the tea lights and the real flame inside the lanterns that the children and the adults hold, for it really is part of the magic. The other thing you need to have is a lantern. And I wish I had examples of many kinds of past lanterns to show you, but I don't have mine anymore. There are a few sitting here behind me. The simplest kind of lantern I find to make is to get a canning jar, or any kind of glass jar really. And you can press leaves on it, like this one has a leaf here. Or you can cover it with tissue paper, which is what is all on the rest of this one. And then Mod Podge, it's a glue, is used to cover it and hold it there on the glass. And then this is very thin wire that we use to make handles. And you could bead your handle if you wanted, or you could have it plain. Here's some more of the pressed leaves. And you see the sand there in the bottom to hold the tea light. You can also make lovely lanterns with watercolored paper that you oil after your child watercolors, and you fold in just the right way and add a handle. You can make them with tin cans and a nail and a hammer, hammering little holes all in the side of the tin can for the light to shine through. There are a lot of options for making lanterns. And I would like to share some links here with you all of some different ideas and some different versions of lanterns people have made, and would love to see what you have made if you've done this at your house. Now, in addition to a path to walk and a lantern to carry, it can help to add to the celebration, to have special food that you share, that you make each year for the Lantern Walk. And one of the ways that we have traditionally celebrated is by roasting apples. And I take an apple and I cut a triangular piece out of it, a big wedge out of that apple. And then I add coconut oil or butter, and then some cinnamon, and then I close it back up. Then I cover it with tin foil and roast it, either in the oven or on a fire. And you can open them up and they are so yummy. So consider having a special food, and consider singing a song when you walk and practicing the song together. We usually sing This Little Light of Mine because many families already know it, and they don't have to learn it the night of, and they feel pretty confident to sing it as they walk. But you could choose any song that suits your family and the way that you wish to celebrate. And lastly, I love to have a story, whether at the beginning of the walk or at the end. I have done it both ways. But having a story that really pulls the whole experience together can be meaningful to children. And if you want to go the extra mile, perhaps even a puppet show. All right, friends, those are your ingredients for a lantern walk: a path, lanterns, and perhaps story, song, and food. Let me know if you have any questions, and I would love to see if you give this a try with your family.